Name is Debbie Bloom, and I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia about 8 or 9 years ago. And I remember walking into the doctor's office saying my knees hurt and my shoulders hurt, and I hurt all over. And she did some kind of testing, touching my body and getting my reaction. She goes, "Well, it looks like you have fibromyalgia." And I said, "Okay, well, I don't want that. So how do I get rid of it?" And she clearly said, "There is no getting rid of it. This is going to be your new life." Um, I am not one for pharmaceuticals. I don't like taking aspirin. So when she offered me up this box, and I'm not kidding, it was about 2.5 inches wide, and it was an 8 by 10, so 2.5 inches wide. It had cards in it, and on each of the cards there were about 30 or 40 painkillers, right? And my instructions were, take as many of these as you need to get rid of your pain, and then don't take any more than that. And it was like, I don't want these in my house. And she said, just take them. I was on a great medical plan, and it only cost $5 to take the drugs home. And so I did that, and I brought them home, and they sat there for, I don't know, months, and then I discarded them. What I did do was I went on and I researched how to deal with fibromyalgia, and lots of opinions out there. Self-care is really important. So I'm one for massages. I was really into that, and diet control and all of that. Well, I did that. I managed it, and years later, and I'm dealing with it. I'd wake up, I was in pain, but I've got a life, and I would just muster through it. My energy level started dissipating. I started finding myself at 3 o'clock every day, falling asleep just to get my energy back. And because when you have pain, it sucks your energy. And in November, I believe it was November of 2017, this pain started getting really bad. The discomfort was unbelievable. And I remember it because I was thinking, oh my gosh, the holidays are coming up. How am I going to host my kids and my friends coming over? And I was, that was impeding my lifestyle. So I just continued doing my thing. The discomfort in my upper thighs started getting more and more prevalent. We have an RV, and we planned a 3-week road trip going to the Southwest. Just going in my RV and setting it up, you have to bring things in and take things out all the time. The discomfort in my thighs got worse and worse. That during the night on our road trip, I would literally pole vault out of bed trying to maintain some kind of sanity so I could sleep through the night, and the cramps that the discomfort and the what was going on in the upper thigh. I mean, it was horrible. And while we were driving, I got a phone call from a longtime friend, and she said, "I've got something for you. It's a brand new product. You might want to take a look at it. It's going to be a great opportunity." And I said, "No, I am not interested. I've had it with products, and I'm just not interested. Thank you very much, and I love you." And hung up, finished our road trip, came home. What was happening in my legs was horrible. My sleep went down to hardly any, maybe 3 to 4 hours. My husband travels with his own business, and he was gone. And this was now in March of 2018. And I remember him being gone, and my legs just being so inflamed that at 3 o'clock in the morning, when I couldn't sleep, I was doing what everybody else does at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was Facebooking, right, seeing what was going on. And finally, just trying to get myself tired. And so I put my phone down, to shut my eyes. And you know how when your body lies in one place for too long, you have to adjust? Well, that happened with me. And I remember reaching up behind my head and grabbing my headboard just to move just the tiniest bit as my body settled down for the night. And when I made that adjustment, my legs flared up again. I mean, it was a vicious cycle of discomfort and no sleep. And when my husband came home from his work trip, and he got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to use the restroom, he saw what I was doing. He goes, what the hell are you doing? And I told him, I'm Facebooking because I can't sleep. And he said, that's it. I'm taking you to the doctor tomorrow. You're getting pain pills. I said, no, please don't do that. What he didn't know is that during that week he was gone, with the level of discomfort I was having, I started getting these really dark thoughts. And the dark thoughts were my body, everything, because of my diet and the way I've cleaned up, trying to deal with this issue, this fibro issue. It wasn't good. My body is in good condition. My heart is good. My kidneys are good. My pancreas, everything is great, right? And so I was lying in bed while he was gone thinking, can I live like this for 20, maybe 30 years? And, the thing was, no, I can't deal with this. So I started thinking these awful thoughts, and then an image of our new little grandson flashed through, and for him, I had to find a solve. And so when Rick said, I'm taking you to the doctor, and I said no, I immediately called my friend Deborah, and I said, does this product work for fibro? And because it's an over-the-counter, non-prescription, look at me cry, oh my goodness, because it's over the counter, she couldn't tell me that, yeah, it works for fibro. But what she did say was that she's read testimonials that people with fibro have gotten relief. And I said, let's meet for coffee. So we did that morning, just a couple hours later. And I shared with her what had transpired the week before. Excuse me. And she told me about the company. She told me about the founder and the formulator of this HGH gel, that it's homeopathic. It's homeopathic. That doesn't scream my name very loud, does it? Yes, it does. It's transdermal, and it was for me. And so I said, sign me up. And she said, as a customer? I said, no, sign me up as a distributor, because if this product works for me, I'm going to be on it long term. And, honestly, I want it at the lowest price because it's going to be a long-term item. She gave me a bottle that day, and within 10 days, I was sleeping 8 hours a night, and I have been sleeping 8 hours a night ever since. It has been such a godsend, and obviously, when I look back at what could have happened and what I could have missed out on with my kids, my grandkids, I stand in gratitude. I wake up every morning in gratitude. And we go on RV trips, and I enjoy them now, right? I'm not bouncing out of bed with these horrendous crampings that I was getting. So I am forever grateful to Deborah for being there for me, and to the formulator for putting this product out. And I just can't imagine what else he has to offer us in this health and wellness realm that we're in. And I just, cross my heart. This is my testimonial. This is what really happened to me.
If you were talking with someone that had the fibromyalgia, these types of symptoms like you experienced and so forth, what would you say to them, to consider utilizing, this HGH gel?
Well, it is safe for everybody. So they don't have to fear trying it. And if they were to give it a shot, now, what happened in my body doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen with the next guy. Everybody has different levels of fibromyalgia. I'm lucky that I didn't allow mine to get to a place where I can't function. And I know that there's a lot of people out in the fibro world that are, one day they feel fantastic and they may overdo it, even just by going for a walk around the block, and that will just, spring their nerves into action. And the next day they can't get out of bed. For me, that wasn't my level, but I know that other people have that. They have nothing to lose by trying this product. Not only do we have a 30-day money-back guarantee with it, but what happens if this is their solve? What happens if they get to go and watch their kids play softball, right? Or what happens if they get to go swimming with their grandkids? And it's just in this little bottle that we have that's got a gel in it that doesn't hurt to put on, that's not going to hurt them by ingesting, and no shots, right? I mean, what happens if this is the key for them?
Yes.
I took a gamble. I took a gamble with Deborah. I knew her from years before, so there was a level of trust. But she didn't know anything about fibro other than what she read from other people. If I didn't give it a shot, I wouldn't have been able to have that little 2.5-year-old spend the night a couple weeks ago, right? His first overnight at anybody's house, and it was at mine. I wouldn't have been able to do that. Oh my gosh. I don't know if he'll ever remember it, but I certainly will. So. Great. Yeah, so what would I tell them? Try it.
Yeah.
Just try it.
Yeah, I agree. So,
yeah.
Corey, you mentioned you may have a couple of questions.
So can you describe for us in that period of time when you started, you said 10 days you started feeling relief. What's the difference between that first 10 days and now? Is it continued to reduce your symptoms, or has it gotten better?
As your body, there's a whole thing about, in my mind anyways, body heal thyself. And you have to give your body the avenues to heal. So sleep is really important, right? And relaxing, not having anxiety or stress. And, I'm trying to focus this in just on the fibro issues. So with just those 3 things being brought down to a level that my body is able to fix itself, I would say, I mean, there are times, if we're preparing to go on the road trip, comparing it to back a year ago, February, when it really got bad for me. If we're preparing to go on a road trip and I'm going up and down the steps all the time, right? I could feel it happening. I could feel that the legs are starting to give off some of that uncomfort again, or discomfort. But then I'll stop and I'll relax and we continue getting ready for the trip. So it's the gel has allowed me to really dial into my body and know when maybe I need another tap on my wrist of more gel, right? Or maybe, oh my gosh, it's Saturday, because I usually do 5 days on and 2 days off as prescribed. But I was also talking with a doctor, and the doctor uses it 7 days a week, twice a day. So I know that if I were to go off the directions that are on the bottle of the gel, I'm safe. So if I know I'm going to be putting myself in a strenuous situation, I'll use it. It is my go-to. And I'll tell you something. In 2017, I wasn't able to go for walks, which is my preference of exercise. And since I've been using the gel, I have walked every single day with my dog for 1.5 miles minimum. So I put on my 10,000 steps on my Fitbit. That's my goal. Sometimes I put on 13, 15,000 steps. And I will swear that if it wasn't for my gel, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Wow.
So, yeah.
This has really been a great journey and be able to have a higher quality of life and how it's affected you.
Totally a higher quality. And I'll tell you what, I brought my husband in on the ride with me. He had a restless leg syndrome really bad. And so when I was sleeping, when I finally got to sleep, his legs would start doing whatever the heck they were doing, and that would wake me up. So, it was like just not fair. He started using the gel, and it took him a little bit longer. His wasn't in 10 days. His was probably in 6 to 7 weeks. He's not having restless leg syndrome. So he's eating better. He's dropped so much weight. And, he's feeling good. He's out working in the yard right now. Right? Waiting for everybody.
There we go.
Yeah.
Corey, do you have any more questions?
I think that covered it.
There's so much negativity out in the world. Anything to help people at least feel good about themselves and their bodies I'm all there and more than willing to help.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate you asking.